Welcome to step 2, also known as scrub. This is the SILCA Ultimate Bike Wash. This is, well, it's the most highly concentrated soap in the market today that you can use with hand washing techniques, essentially in a bucket with a hand sponge. One of the things that we see in the automotive world is that a lot of people have gone to what they call like a foam cannon, or some pressure washers have essentially a hose you can use to actually agitate the soap into the water stream under very high pressures. And that has allowed some of the professional detailing companies and car cleaning companies the ability to use even more concentrated soaps and surfactants. We have taken ours to the absolute edge of what you can go to and still use it in a bucket with soap. But we've also come up with some pretty clever technologies. The formulator we work with actually has a handful of patents, I think 5 or 6, on the combination of technologies here that do what we like to call lift, encapsulate, and lubricate. And what's really happening when this soap attacks dirt on the surface of your paint, it is essentially lifting the dirt up off the surface. It's encapsulating it in the surfactant itself, which is naturally very lubricious. And so it not only does it want to run off on its own, but it actually, if you're wiping it with a brush or a sponge, it's actually protecting the paint from those dirt particles that are suspended in it, right? So we don't want to make a lapping compound or sort of like a liquid sandpaper out of the dirt that's on the bike. We want to encapsulate it in something soft and slippery, and then allow it to be wiped away without touching the paint again. So we call that lift, encapsulate, and lubricate. This product does it better than any on the market today. Has a lovely cherry scent. You don't have to use much. It is super, super concentrated. I mean, you're something like, 20 washings out of this bottle. I mean, little goes a long way. I mean, I'd say an ounce at most in a 5-gallon bucket. The other beauty of this is that, we talked in step 1 how we formulated our brake cleaner to be residue-free, or as residue-free as possible, and as clean washing or rinsing as possible. With this, we have also been able to include the stuff necessary to remove any remaining brake cleaner residue that may be left behind. That's super important. You do not want residues left behind. And so, we've done the best we can, and while still having amazing cleaning power in that brake cleaner, but as a kind of a secondary follow-up step, this will remove the rest of it 100%. The other thing that's amazing with this stuff is that it rinses 100%, and that is something that, when you do testing of these products, particularly some of the automotive products that are out there, so few of them rinse cleanly. And I think the reality there is they're just, we'll say it, they're cutting corners, right? They're saving money and not putting all the stuff in there that necessarily needs to be put in there to allow it to rinse as cleanly as possible. So it's a little bit more expensive, to do it the way that we're doing it, but the results ultimately are worth it. As we said with step 1, this is also specially formulated to not attack waxes, right? So we do not want it to attack the wax that's on our chain. We do not want it to attack the wax that is on the paint, because that is there to protect it. So it's also completely free of any chemicals that will go after your wax. And that is where I think it's probably most beneficial compared to a lot of the dish detergents out there. One of the big differentiators between car soap and dish soap is that dish soaps do contain wax removers, because a lot of wax is used in food. If you know that or not, but, apples are covered in wax, and it shows up all over the place, but it also shows up in your food. Dawn dishwashing soap, though, super concentrated, incredibly strong product, cleans well, but it will absolutely strip wax off your frame, and it will strip the wax out of your chain over time. And I think even worse, the residue it can leave behind can continue to sit in there and erode the wax that's in the chain, potentially causing you some real performance losses over time. And also, if you're using a soap like that contains a wax remover, any residue left behind will inhibit the future waxings, right? So we don't want residues and we don't want wax removers. And so that's really, I think, one of the things I'm most proud of in this product here, that it cleans so well without leaving any residue behind, and it leaves all of the protective wax coating in your paint, and it will not degrade the performance of your drivetrain or inhibit future re-waxings. So step number 2, bike wash. Little goes a long way. Smells awesome. I think you're going to love it.